So apparently I had the sound off on my phone, so none of the YouTube videos got uploaded correctly. So I'm gonna try this again. So yeah, I just wanted to discuss my issues from the beginning. I was diagnosed in May. I went in for a colonoscopy because I had been having some issues. So with Kaiser, they give you a test, a fecal test, and all of my tests had been coming back normal, but I'd had symptoms all the way back to 2022. Oh, 2021 actually, so it was right after COVID. I went to the emergency room, but it was really, really, really crowded, and I just didn't stay to see what happened because it was so crowded. But I wish I would have, of course, because the symptoms started to come back again in late 2022. So what was happening is that I was having blood in my stool, and it would go away. So it would come and then it would go away, and then I would ignore it. But what happened is that last year around, I would say November, I'd started to have a persistent blood in my stool and very bad gastric issues. Like none of my food would digest properly. I had a lot of stomach pains, dizzy spells beyond belief, which probably started somewhat in the summer. But again, I ignored it, thinking maybe it was high blood pressure because hypertension runs in my family, but my blood pressure has always been great, and I just ignored it. So please, please, please don't ignore any signs that you may have of anything, whether it be, your breasts or gastrointestinal issues or anything like that. The other symptom that I was having was the size of when I expelled. And I had seen probably on Good Morning America that if it's really skinny, that could be an issue. But again, I ignored it until the symptoms got really bad. So I reached out to Kaiser, let them know I wanted to have a colonoscopy, but they told me to do another fecal exam, and then that one came back positive. So I went in for a colonoscopy, and that's where it went off the rails. That was May. So I had 2 polyps. One was ginormously big from what I was described afterwards. And the doctor before the colonoscopy told me it would probably take 2 weeks for me to get results. So I went in for the colonoscopy. When I was waking up, I could feel like this rush of something coming out. So I'm thinking it's, still stuff being expelled from the drink that they have you drink before your colonoscopy, but that wasn't it. It was blood. So it freaked the nurses out. They went to get the doctor. The doctor said to send me to the hospital immediately. They transported me from Kaiser at Capitol Hill to GW. And the bleeding stopped on its own later that night. I went home the next day. Everything seemed to be fine. I got in a car. I was heading to an appointment. I think maybe it was a nail appointment or something. And a doctor called. And she's like, "Miss Buckman, I'm sorry to tell you that the test came back positive for colon cancer. The polyp was, full of cancer, and so the next step for you would be to come in for us to do a biopsy of your actual colon in the area in which the polyp was removed." So I went in for that probably about 3 weeks later, and they said, "Well, we didn't find any more cancer in your colon." But the surgeon called later, probably a week later, and said, "Well, we kind of see some swelling in your lymph node area. Let's do an MRI." So they did an MRI, and in fact, I had some swelling of the lymph nodes right outside of my colon. And he said, "Let's just watch it because it could be trauma from the previous procedures. Let's just watch it for a couple of months, and then we'll have you come back in for an MRI." He said, "But your case is pretty unique, so I'm going to raise it to the board and talk to them about it." And the board consists of radiologists, oncologists, and surgeons. and let's see what they think of your scans. So a doctor from Holy Cross said she wanted to do a biopsy of the lymph nodes because she had some concern. And I'm glad she did, because that's when it came back positive that I was stage 3. I had stage 3 colon cancer, and I would have to go through chemotherapy. So needless to say, I had an immediate breakdown. I called a friend of mine that night when I found out, and just incoherent in tears, trying to explain to him that I was just freaked out and I didn't want to tell my kids. That I just didn't want to raise any alarms with them. I have a really close relationship with them, and that's just all I could think about at the moment. I called my mom probably a couple of days later, along with my sisters and my brother, to let them know, but I didn't want them to tell my kids. My daughter was getting married and she had a wedding coming up, and I just didn't want to freak them out. So I asked them if I could wait to start treatment after her wedding, and I did a week later. So I've been in treatment and chemotherapy treatment for the last few months since September. I have 9 rounds. I'm now 5 of 9. So I should be finished by the end of January, no later than the beginning of February, but I've had some setbacks. So one of the side effects of chemotherapy is that it messes with your blood work. I mean, it's basically sending this chemo through your whole body. Trying to kill cancer wherever it thinks it is, but it's also killing normal cells as well. So every 2 weeks, I go in for treatment. I have to have blood tests before I go to treatment to make sure my blood test is well. I've had a couple of setbacks where they had to delay my treatment because my white blood cell count was really low. But I go in for 3 hours. So I have a chest port where they hook me up for 3 hours to a drip of 2 different medications. And then before I leave, they do a hard push of this medication that I'm carrying now. And I wear this for 2 days. And here's my little package of chemotherapy medicine that I wear for 2 days. So I went on Tuesday. So I get this, I'm sorry, what's today? Wednesday. So yes, I went Tuesday. So tomorrow I get this removed, and then I do the same thing again in 2 weeks. So the side effects have been the side effects, but in my opinion, I've seen so many different people go through so many different things. I have no complaints about what's happening with me. But right now, my hands are starting to turn black on the insides. I think you can see my thumb and the palm of my hand. So this is happening on the bottom of my feet, the palm of my hands. My nail beds are starting to turn black. My tongue is turning black. And I have a really bad mouth sensitivity. So all chemo treatments are different. The medicine affects you in very different ways, from breast cancer to whatever kind of cancers that you have. The treatment is totally different. So my perspective would totally be for colon cancer treatment. Right after treatment, I cannot eat. Well, I can eat, but it hurts really, really bad. As soon as I put food in my mouth, it is a pain that you can't even describe. But I can see why some people probably lose weight on this medication. But because I'm a little greedy and I love food, I will keep trying to eat. So it seems like the more I chew and take a bite, the pain goes away. And then I've noticed that I probably should just try to eat something throughout the day. So I try to keep my, I guess it would be your taste glands or the sensitivity when you put things in your mouth. I try to keep that stimulated with crackers or, a little bit of fruit or something that I try to keep going every day. I am truly sensitive to anything cold. I cannot drink anything with ice in it. I can't be outside when it's cold. My entire body is sensitive to cold to where it hurts. And then I accidentally, after I had a break in treatment, these symptoms kind of subside. Let me back up and say the symptoms kind of subside after about 7 days. So the mouth sensitivity gets a little bit better after 7 days. That's the big one. But and the tiredness goes away, because right after treatment, especially after they remove this, I am completely drained. Like the only thing I can do is just pretty much lay down and sleep. I nap a lot, but I have dogs, so they keep me busy. You know, I try to run errands, but after about 7 days, I start feeling like myself again. And then I feel like, you know, I could do a little bit more venturing out, but since the cold weather is coming, that's probably going to come to a screeching halt of how much I actually go outside. But this is just a byproduct of this particular medicine, is your sensitivity to cold. So when I had the break, I started drinking soda with ice, and then I completely forgot and had treatment again. And when I tell you my throat and my chest was on fire, the doctor pretty much said it's like a burn. It has to heal. So it took a few days for that pain to go away. So yeah, that's a big one that I will never do again. The other thing is that I have muscle spasms in my hands a lot right after treatment. It's my right hand more than my left hand, which is weird because I'm left-handed, but my hand will basically have a spasm in it like you would have a Charlie horse in your leg. So that's another side effect as well. But like I said, on the grand scheme of things, with some of the things I've seen, you know, the side effects are the side effects. They tend to get worse from what I heard from treatment to treatment. They usually start showing up at its worst around where I am now. So I literally take treatments, one treatment at a time. You can't overthink it. If you do, you'll go down a black hole, and it's just not a good place to be. So I understand what they mean about having a positive outlook when you're going through chemotherapy treatments or any treatments at all. But, I understand that, more than you know. And that's what led to, you know, the other things that I want to talk to you guys about that, you know, is just going to span through this whole process. And that's self-care. Like, I'm huge on self-care. I figured that if I still did the things that I do, like go to the spa, get facials, I get my hair done, get my lashes done. If I do all those things, then, you know, I'm still feeling like myself. And that's very important through this process, is to try to feel like yourself. So I definitely do those things. The other thing is nutrition. I've completely changed my diet, completely. That's huge. I've learned a lot about the American food system and the things that they put in our food, and the importance of changing what we eat as Americans. I will be sharing all of that. The other thing is just having alone time. I've never been this alone in a long time. Which has just greatly benefited me in ways that I just can't even explain. And reading has definitely been one of the things that I've been doing in my spare time. So I've learned a lot of things through reading. I want to share all the books that I've read, the things that I've learned. Yeah, I just wanted to share this with you guys. I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I'm sorry about the faux pas of the early video and not having any sound, but I'm gonna upload this one now and let you guys know. And I will share the links for the TikTok and the Instagram as well. It'll just be little shorts on there, other things that I've learned and things that I would like to share with you guys. So thank you so much, and I love you. Have a great day.